The Vampire Diaries Season 7, Episodes 3 through Episode 9. Now, the reason I'm doing this super incredibly late is because, and I mentioned this before, I was never planning on doing this show as a normal sort of review type of thing. It was either going to be I review it with my girlfriend, which is initially the plan. I planned on having her review each episode with me, but she decided that she just wasn't going to do that. So I just waited, and I planned on doing a review before the mid-season finale, but I didn't end up getting the chance. And so I wanted to just do every episode before the mid-season premiere. And I'll probably do a single episode review for the premiere, which does come on tonight, so I'm looking forward to that. And then I probably will just do another review like this, where I just do a review on every single episode leading up to the actual season finale, which would be a lot more episodes, I think, because I'm pretty sure we have like 11, possibly 12 more episodes. They normally have about 22 episodes per season, so we've got quite a bit until then. But I'm just gonna go over some of my favorite moments. I'm just gonna skip over my least favorite stuff because there's nothing really bad that stood out to me that I really want to talk about from the episodes that has had that much of a lasting effect. But the really big moments certainly have, and um, I'm just gonna start with the mid-season finale, probably the best one they've ever done, where they have Julian come in and he takes, if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure I do, he takes down both Damon and Stefan, so both of them lose their souls to the gem. And that blew my mind because I honestly thought, okay, they failed the mission, their mother died. For Stefan, that's like a double whammy because he actually cared about his mom. For Damon, it was just one of his best moments in the entire series where he just stuck to his guns and was like, I hope you enjoy your bed because you made it and now you have to lie in it, or however he phrased it. It was just like a really hardcore moment, and it was just like, I'm done with her, and she just died, and that was the last thing she ever got. And personally, I wish that he stuck to that, but they did have it in like the flash forward where he mentions that he is sorry for what happened because he's had enough time to actually think about it and grieve. But personally, I wish that he kind of still didn't really care. But I like the way that they played that episode out because that was their big plan. Like the whole thing was, we got to stop Julian. Everyone's found out the truth at this point. Damon, of course, finding out the truth from Stefan. Stefan finding out the truth, which just like shook him mentally and just kind of messed him up for a bit. I enjoyed that. I thought that was really good, and that really pushed his drive to take down Julian, which for Damon, he already had that drive. It was like, okay, she has her love back. I'm going to wait this out, make her suffer. Stefan was like, no, I want him dead right now. And of course, they have, and I like the fact that they only did it for one episode, but they have their kind of back and forth where it's like, I want him dead now. I want him, I want her to suffer. So they eventually have to work together because of course Damon isn't going to let his brother get killed by Julian. So when Stefan decides to just tackle him in the kitchen, they don't have much of a Damon doesn't have much of a choice, and so they both fight, both get destroyed. Like they are not strong enough to take this guy down, and it was pretty cool. It was an interesting moment watching them both lose, and then Julian, he was in like a crazy rage. He almost snapped on their mom and almost um, was about to stab her, and then he stops in midair. But it was really good. I was like, I enjoyed that. And then he tells him like, the reason I was so brash is because he killed the possibility of me having a son. And so Damon, like it was pretty much automatic, which I really loved. And it was like, all right, that's just freaking insane. We're just gonna kill him when you're ready to kill him. And I thought that was actually a pretty cool moment for Damon. And so they have their plan. They go through. Every one of the heretics finds out what really happened. Um, I don't know why, but Bo was the one to convince everyone. Like, he grabs her and he just looks at her angrily, and then it's like, okay, I believe her. And so then that convinced everybody else. And then we have the split of the two women whose names I don't remember like anyone's names except for Bo and Julian at this point. Everyone else has like normal names, and also I don't know. Bo's name is just interesting because I've never heard Bo used as a name. It's always been a term for a boyfriend, like a really old timey term. And Julian as the villain, I feel like villains always have their name said more than any other character in a series because it's like we got to stop this villain and it's this villain and I hate this villain and stuff. So Julian's name sticks out a lot to me, so that's the only reason why I remember their two names. But it was cool. You know, everyone's convinced except for one other person, and of course that leads us to another split between these two women. And I don't know what's going to happen with that because, you know, depending on how things go, um, the one woman that went with Julian, she could end up having her soul taken into the gem. And I was thinking that maybe she's the one who ends up becoming the huntress in, you know, the flash forwards, because this huntress could have been a witch from the past, possibly turned into a vampire but didn't become a heretic, or was always a heretic, or, you know, not a heretic but was always a vampire and maybe worked with a witch or something, and then, you know, being put into this new heretic body has gained the abilities of magic. And that's why, because when they mentioned the thing, I think it was like the second, possibly the first flash forward, when Stefan goes to wake Damon up, he mentions like, oh, the wound opened up when she came near. So that has to be magic based. So maybe we have her get transitioned. You know, her soul is taken out, and then another soul is put in, and then this soul of someone who used to be a vampire that was also a vampire hunter ends up becoming magical as well. So that could be the case. Could still just be any random huntress. And I think if that's the case, if it's going to be a brand new character, I think this person might not be that big of a deal until possibly the next season. But that's also what I thought with the previous season of the originals, and I was wrong about that with one of their main villains. So I could easily be wrong, but so far that person's only been in the flash forwards. We do still have like almost 10 hours worth of content left, so they could spend 5 episodes and then they kill Julian, and then, you know, 6 more episodes or whatever on a brand new villain that's, you know, hunting vampires and stuff. So we still got no answers as to what's going on with that. We did get some really cool flash forwards though. We got to see that not only does Alaric have his daughters back, but Caroline, which we will of course find this out in the present, Caroline is the one that gave birth to the twins. They're married now, which I thought was the craziest thing. I thought that was even crazier than Bonnie and Enzo, which also still pretty crazy. But, you know, we have two interesting relationships that form in the future. Bonnie, for whatever reason, kind of detached herself from everything, and she was in like rehab. So I don't know what the case is with that, but it's Bonnie. She goes through like some of the craziest stuff. If it's not Alaric, who once again, worst stuff happening to him ever. I mean, he got his daughters back, which is great, but I mean, he's lost. Let's see, he lost his first wife, he lost his second wife, he lost his second wife again, even though it was a different soul within her body. He still technically did. He was killed. I don't know how many times, not even including the ring, bringing him back to life. I think he's died maybe 2 times, possibly 3 times, or something crazy like that, because I think they had to kill him when he turned evil. They had to kill him and kind of reverse it or something crazy. Even if that didn't happen and they just saved him. I know he died, you know, the part when he became a ghost. Then he came back to life and he was basically an original vampire. And then they saved him from that because he was almost killed when they threw him into Mystic Falls. But fortunately, Joe was there to save him because his wound was only fatal if there wasn't a doctor there. So now he's human again. But it's just the crazy stuff with his character and just the emotional toll that things tend to take on him. So lots of craziness with this character. Really love it though. And so we have Bonnie in rehab. Caroline and Alaric are married. We did get to see Tyler in like the future Flash, if I remember. It was either Tyler or Matt, but I'm pretty sure it was Tyler in the future, the Flash forward. So it was cool to see him. Still didn't see any of the villains outside of their mother, which ended up being a hallucination, unfortunately. And I love the way they played that when she did die. I thought it was really cool, and just obviously just everything that happened. Just I really loved it. But I was surprised that they did that because when I thought she died, I was like, okay, well they had this flash forward. So how did she, you know, how did they save her or something like that? And then it's like, oh, he was hallucinating, and it ended up being someone else. And I don't believe we got to see who it was. I think it was like she was still like a silhouette basically. So we still don't really know what's going on there. But I thought that was cool how they played that. The stuff they did with the twins, I think that was before, uh, the soul within Joe's body actually died again. So it was cool how they played that. Also very sad, but it was like, okay. And they made it kind of obvious because he mentioned, like, we have to save your wife or something like that. I think they did that the episode afterwards, where Damon's like, oh, we have to save your wife. And they don't seem to be the best of friends anymore either. Alaric and Damon don't seem like they're really on the greatest terms. So I thought that was pretty interesting as well. But 3 years, who knows what's going to happen. But I really do like what they did this season. I think so far the flash forwards have been really cool because it's like a really weird mystery trying to figure out, how the heck did these characters get in this position. Finding out the stuff about Alaric's twins being inside of Caroline has been pretty crazy, and basically ever since they said that she was the one who had the babies, she's been kind of showing lately, and like like not even showing actually. They've been doing stuff, and she's talking about how she's slightly showing and things like that, but it's basically just been kind of weird. Like she's just been, having the babies. And something my girlfriend mentioned is that like how come she wasn't showing, but they could easily write it off if she just didn't gain any sort of weight, because that does happen, which is the craziest thing. But my aunt was like that when she was pregnant. She never gained any weight, and it was the weirdest thing. Like her stomach didn't change at all, and it was really crazy. But they could do that. They probably won't give any real explanation as to why she never looked pregnant, until like the last minute, like, oh, magic. That's probably what they're going to end up doing, because they don't really give an explanation as to why she, you know, even if the babies were hidden as part of the magic, if they were like concealed, I can't think of the name of the spell when they actually say that, but even if they're hidden inside of Caroline, after they're not, you would assume that something would happen. I don't know, but oh, well, she's gonna have twins. We'll see what they do with it if they do decide to actually make it where she does genuinely seem like she's pregnant and about to give birth, or if they kind of play it off that way, like, oh, not everyone gains weight, or something crazy like that, or because she's a vampire, her body won't stretch, or something crazy. I don't know, but it'll be interesting. I don't know if she's gonna give birth this season either. I mean, I know they skipped 3 years, but we still don't really know how much time passes within this season, or how much time will end up passing. And in the preview for this episode tonight, they say it's been a couple of months, but that could also be, like, it could all be hallucinations based on Damon having been stabbed, like Damon and Stefan both being stabbed. We don't know how long it's really been. It could be like as soon as he gets stabbed, Damon kind of wakes up and is like, oh man, what happened? And basically he feels like he died. So it'd be interesting figuring out if he's actually hallucinating, or if they really brought him back to life and it's been 4 months or something. And from like what I remember, Caroline also not showing in those 4 months. If she was in that trailer, I'm pretty sure she was. So probably a hallucinatory episode for Damon. We might get one for it might be back and forth between them both. Um, but I don't know. It seems like it'll focus all on Damon. If it's a hallucination, it probably won't switch back and forth. It'll probably have to stick to one character to kind of be the weird little mystery. Like, is he still in the gym or is he not? And I would assume that he is, because, well, they do have the heretics, and they're the ones that did the spell. I'm sure they can find the ingredients. They all know magic, so they could combine their abilities and definitely do the spell together, and it would certainly work again to save both Stefan and Damon. So, aside from having to get the stone from Julian, which I'm sure wouldn't be easy because he's older than everyone on the show currently, aside from that, once they have it, they can certainly do the spell. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm sure it'll be a hallucination, but so far I have definitely enjoyed this season. I'm looking forward to a lot more flash forwards. I really want to see more of those. I mentioned this before, but I was wondering what they were going to do, if they were going to get through all the heroes and then start with the villains. I still believe, I don't remember seeing Matt in any of the flash forwards so far. He may have been in one, I just can't remember, but so far we haven't really gotten too much info on what's exactly what's going on. But I'm really looking forward to it. I think so far it's been really great. Very surprising death of their mother. Love the way they did that with Damon and him sticking to his guns. Like I said, I do wish that he officially just stayed not caring, but it's fine. Um, and just the way they ended it, you know, you have both the brothers get stabbed. Just didn't see that coming. Everything seemed so peaceful too, because I remember it was like they're just at home. It was like, man, we failed. That really sucks. And then Julian just bursts in super pissed and it's like, stab you, and then I'm out of here and I have your souls. That just kind of blew my mind. I was like, okay. I thought they were just gonna talk about how this sucks and that sucks, and it's like, nope, chaos. And then he's gone and they're just down for the count. So I can't wait to see this episode tonight for sure. Of course, definitely want to know what you guys thought about it. You know, all these episodes, the season in general, flash forwards, deaths, reveals. Um, I think a lot of kid reveals. I didn't even think about the fact that like the two biggest reveals have been about either a kid being, you know, a child being murdered in the fetus or in the womb, or two children being actually hidden inside of someone else and actually surviving. So one really sad. One took the sadness from the previous season and actually, you know, kind of turned it around and made it something, you know, pretty nice, pretty crazy, but still definitely nice that he, you know, Lark finally has something that's just this won't be taken away from him. So really glad to see that for him, because if anyone needs it, it's Alaric and it's Bonnie. Those are two people that need it. Sadly, based on the future, Bonnie doesn't exactly get that, but she's also currently kind of doing okay. So I guess they can kind of do a back and forth. I don't know, but definitely want to know what you guys thought about it. What you're looking forward to seeing for this episode coming up tonight. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. You know, there's so much, so I can't do like a specific question, but I would like to know what you guys thought of them actually killing off Stefan and Damon's mother. Did it bother you? Did it not bother you? I personally didn't. You know, I never really liked her character that much. I liked the character. I didn't like her because she was meant to be like a crappy person, and she was a crappy mother. Like everything was like, you know, she abandoned them and stuff like that, and she wasn't exactly trying to make amends. It was just that Stefan kind of forgave her, so they were okay. And with Damon, it was like, you know, he didn't forgive her, and she was kind of just like, get over it a little bit. That's kind of how I felt she was, at least. So it still sucked to see her go, because personally, I would have loved to have seen where she did go after them killing Julian. If she hadn't been killed, you know, and all that madness first, if he did get killed, I would have loved to have seen where that went, because I thought for sure that, you know, with her being in that flash forward, I was like, oh, she's going to be pissed that they actually succeeded in killing Julian, even though I think the episode before that, you know, she did realize, but she could have still been mad. Like, it would have made sense to me. But for me, it's kind of a so-so thing. I would have liked to have seen her character continue on a little bit more, to be honest, just because of her being their mother and just the odd dynamic that they had, you know, as a trio of characters. But ultimately, it's like, it worked for me, the way they did it. Sad, awesome moment for Damon, but still kind of sad for her and some of the other characters as well. But definitely want to know what you guys think. So like I said, please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.